The first thing Zara Shah noticed about the moon was how loud the silence was. She had trained for 3 years to hear it, sat in pressure chambers until her ears rang, listened to recordings of vacuum, which was, of course, no sound at all, but the absence had a texture if you sat with it long enough. Nothing had prepared her for the real thing, standing on gray dust older than her ancestors' oldest stories, watching Earth hang in a black sky like a blue lantern someone had forgotten to take down.
Tranquility, this is Shah.
She said.
We're down, we're whole.
Static answered first, then her commander's voice thin with distance but warm.
Copy that, Shah. Welcome home.
It wasn't home. Not yet. But humanity had a peculiar talent for making strange places into homes, and the 11 colonists of Tranquility Base intended to put that talent to work. The trouble started on the 9th day, when the regolith processor failed. It wasn't a small failure. The processor turned lunar dust into breathable oxygen and usable water, and without it, Tranquility Base had exactly 6 days of reserves before the math turned ugly. Director Okonkwo gathered the team in the common module, and for a moment, nobody spoke. 6 days. It was not a comfortable number.
We could call it resupply,
said Yusuf the engineer, though he said it like a man chewing on something sour.
Resupply is 40 days out.
Okonkwo said.
Best case.
Zara watched the others' faces. Fear, yes, but underneath it, something else. The particular stubbornness of people who had spent years arguing for the right to be here, who had filled out forms and passed physicals and said goodbye to families precisely because they believed something stupid and beautiful, that humans did not turn back.
Then we fix it,
Zara said.
We have 6 days. People have done more with less.
It was not a clever line. It did not need to be. Sometimes the truth was plain, and you only needed to say it out loud for people to remember they already believed it. They did not sleep much over the next 2 days. Yusuf took the processor apart down to its bones, laid every component across a tarp like a surgeon's tools, and swore, internally, since cursing had been gently discouraged in mixed company, at every part that should have worked and didn't. The problem turned out to be small and stupid, the way most disasters are once you find them. A filter mesh, rated for Earth dust, had not accounted for how much finer and sharper lunar regolith really was. It had clogged in a place no sensor was watching.
We don't have a spare,
Yusuf said.
No,
Zara agreed.
but we have a printer and we have ideas.
It took them a day and a half to design a replacement mesh and another 6 hours to print it from the polymer stock meant for habitat repairs. Nobody had budgeted polymer for this. Nobody had budgeted for half the things that happened on the moon, because no one had ever lived there long enough to know what needed budgeting. When the processor whirred back to life on the 11th day, the cheer that went up in Tranquility Base's common module was not the triumphant kind you saw in old films. It was tired and a little hoarse, and Zara thought it was the most beautiful sound she'd ever helped make. 3 months passed in this fashion, small disasters, smaller miracles, and a great deal of quiet, unglamorous work that nobody back on Earth would ever put in a documentary. Then came the dust storm, if you could call it that, on a world with no air to carry wind. A meteoroid strike, miles out, had kicked up enough debris to send a slow gray wave rolling across the plain toward Tranquility Base. It moved at a crawl, almost lazy, and Zara found that more unsettling than any sudden danger. There was time to watch it coming. Time to think.
Seal everything.
Okonkwo ordered.
Non-essential systems down. We ride it out.
They did. The dust settled over the habitat like a shroud, and for 6 hours, Tranquility Base sat blind and waiting while its residents played cards by emergency light and told each other it was fine, it was fine, it was fine, until, eventually, it was. When the dust cleared and the solar panels woke again, caked but functional, Zara stepped outside to look at her home. It was buried in gray to the windows. It looked abandoned. It looked, for one unkind moment, like a grave. Then the airlock cycled behind her, and Yusuf stepped out with a brush in each hand, and within an hour they were all out there sweeping a half-buried colony clean, laughing about nothing in particular, because that, too, was something humans were stubbornly good at, finding the absurd in disaster and laughing anyway. A year after landing, Tranquility Base had grown. 3 new modules, a working greenhouse, green and improbable against the gray outside. A second crew, freshly arrived, blinking at the low gravity like children seeing snow for the first time. Zara stood at the window with one of the newcomers, a young botanist named Mike, and watched Earth rise, or rather, watched it simply exist, fixed in the sky the way it always did from here.
Were you scared?
Mike asked.
First landing. Were you scared it wouldn't work?
Zara thought about the question honestly, the way it deserved.
I was scared the whole time.
She said.
I think everyone was, but scared isn't the same as stuck. We just kept doing the next thing and the next. And eventually you look up and a year's gone and you're still here.
Mike was quiet for a moment, watching the blue marble hang silent in the black.
My grandmother used to say I was too stubborn to know when to quit.
She said. Zara smiled, and outside the window, the gray plain stretched on toward a horizon that no longer felt foreign, only new and theirs, and waiting to be filled with the next thing they built.
Good thing, too,
She said.
quitting was never really on the table.